What do you think, guys? I've got this all put together. It's kind of one of those vloggy little, this is where I work on my bike, but not really kind of thing going on. Of course, you've got to have all the signage, the lights. We've got our sticker board up here, though. A lot of fun.
And then it's just all adrenaline and ball. Adrenaline and ball. Adrenaline and ball.
Man.
My two favorite things. Adrenaline and balls. Adrenaline and balls. No balls.
Guys, I've lived 3 hours from Moab my entire life, growing up in northern New Mexico and now living in Salt Lake. But I have never ridden the Whole Enchilada. I have no good reasons for it, I just have never done it. So in prepping for my first ride out on the Whole Enchilada, I really psyched myself out. I was incredibly nervous. I watched countless YouTube videos on the trail itself and what to do. I read a ton of articles on how to prep for the ride and everything. Really, just overdid it. So what I thought would be a good thing to do is put together a video and tell you a few things that I learned in riding my very first time out there.
Oh my God, it's gotta be good!
All right, first things first. The Whole Enchilada is a hell of a lot of fun. If you consider yourself an intermediate rider, you're gonna be fine on this trail. There's nothing on the trail that you can't bypass or walk around, so no worries there. Really, the most difficult part of this trail is the distance itself. When you're going to be doing this, you wanna ride with a group, at least one other person, for a number of different reasons. One, it's more fun that way. Two, if anything is to happen on the trail, you've got another person there. Now, I got the awesome opportunity to meet up with some other fellow YouTubers down there. I'm gonna link to their channels in the description below. Highly encourage you guys to check out all their channels. They're awesome dudes and awesome riders as well. We've got RC from Outdoor Gold. We've got Josh from Ratto Life. We've got Kyle from Unprofessional Kyle. We've got James from JF Rides. We've got Wayne all the way from South Africa to make this ride from Ride Rate Review. We've also got Shane, the Crashing Dad, who you've seen on this channel before. Guys, go check them out. Go subscribe to their channels and support them. They do some awesome stuff on here. That brings me to my next point. Get your shuttle early. These things fill up fast, especially in peak season, which is at the beginning of fall. What you don't want to do is plan a trip to Moab, get down there, and try to plan a shuttle then, the day before. You want to get it a few weeks in advance.
Hey, you guys got any snacks?
All right, guys, the next one is a big one, and I cannot stress this enough. You have to be prepared for this ride. And that goes a lot of different ways, but first let's talk about what you need to pack to get through this ride. First thing is water, and a ton of it. I packed a 3-liter hydration pack and a water bottle on my frame, and I was bone dry by the end of this ride, so pack enough water. Item next are parts for your bike. Guys, just plan on getting flats. Plan on having some sort of mechanical issue with your bike. This trail is insanely demanding on your ride. So be sure to pack an extra set of tubes. Be sure to pack Dynaplugs. Be sure to pack everything that you might think you need out there. Pumps, zip ties, all of that kind of stuff. You don't need to go out there with a duffel bag, but just make sure your hydration pack has enough parts and bits in there to make sure that you're gonna be able to get home should you run into issues. And then food. You're probably gonna stop for lunch out there unless you're just absolutely hammering this ride, which if it's your first time, you're not going to be. It's better to pack too much than not enough, so make sure you have enough to get through the ride plus some. You never know when you might run into somebody out on the trail that wasn't as prepared as you, and you might as well pay it forward them and help them out. The next tip goes along with that preparation, but it's way before you start packing that pack, and that is bike maintenance. You need to make sure your bike is in tip-top shape for this trail ride. Change those pads if your brakes are fading a little bit. Make sure your tires are in good condition. Make sure your derailleur is shifting properly. Just make sure the bike is operating properly. The last thing you want to have happen is some sort of a mechanical fail simply because you didn't prepare the bike for the ride either. So take it to the shop, get a good tune-up before, or if you're good with a set of tools, you can do a proper tune-up yourself as well. But there's plenty of videos out there on YouTube to show you how to properly maintain your bike. So make sure that your bike is in good shape. The next little bit that I learned is very, very important as well, and that is pace yourself, especially on the first part of this trail. This entire ride, you can make it or break it in the first 3 miles that you start riding. As you get off of the shuttle and start climbing Burro Pass, try to conserve your energy for the funner parts of the trail that are ahead of that. That climb up Burro Pass is no joke. It's insanely steep, and when we rode it, it was insanely loose. The last thing that you want to do is kill it on the first 3 miles of this thing to get up to Burro Pass, and then you're absolutely dead or cramping on the funner parts of the trail, which are Hazard County, UPS, LPS, and Porcupine. To kind of go along with that whole pacing yourself thing, you need to put aside enough time to ride this trail. Including the ride back to Moab, it's 36 miles long. Typically that's gonna take 4.5 to 5 hours for an intermediate rider. But if you have a group, just put aside the whole day. If you're in a hurry, do not ride the whole enchilada. The other thing I learned on this trail is to push yourself just a little bit. You don't want to go overboard because you don't want to injure yourself, and I'm not talking about that. But there are a ton of different features on this trail, and there are a ton of different difficulty levels of those features. Try some out. Don't push beyond your comfort level too much, but if you're not doing that, you're not going to have the time of your life. So check out a couple features, try them out. You never know, you just might surprise yourself. And one of the cool things about this particular trail is on some of the more well-known features, there's gonna be a big crowd of people that are sessioning those features. So they might be able to kind of give you a few tips and show you how to go down them. Next thing that I learned out there, guys, is you will crash.
RC down!
When you're riding and having this much fun and you're pushing yourself, it's gonna happen. So just prepare for it and you'll be fine.
Bad place to start.
Another thing that I learned is to not lose focus. I had a brush with death on this trail. I came up to a feature, it was towards the end of the ride. I was tired, exhausted, I was just pretty much done. I lost focus for 1 second, came up to a small little drop. We had a cliff edge on our right side. I stopped and stepped off the bike the wrong way, ending up doing a backflip off the bike and landing on a ledge below right before it dropped off to a cliff. Now, I can't stress this enough, guys. That was a dumb mistake. It had nothing to do with my riding abilities or anything like that. It had everything to do with me losing focus for a split second. All I want you to do is understand the level of danger that is associated with this trail, especially on the end when you get down Porcupine Rim. Do not lose focus. And if you're uncomfortable on that section of the trail, and if you're tired, exhausted, get off and walk. The last little bit of advice on something that I learned out there is you want to smile. You're on your bike on one of the best trails in the world. There's no reason you shouldn't have a big friggin' grin on your face. Let me know some things that you learned out on the trail that might help some new riders. And also, if this is going to be your first time or you're planning on doing a trip down there, let me know what questions you might have in the comment section below. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember to ride hard, have fun, and drink responsibly. We'll see you out on the trails. Thanks.
Yes. Every man for himself. Enchilada plus some Jimmy Keane. Thanks to this man. Good rides, good rides.